trip down south, safari in Chile? Chile.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming today. I'll try to make it short and sweet. This is, well, this was done in November in 2023 when we went to Chile and we traveled South America for 3 months. Out of those 3 months, I had to push to go to this location and spend 1 week looking for copiapoas, which are probably one of my top 3 genus in the of plants. And when I started looking for copiapoas and collecting, it was very quickly that I found that they were endemic to Tal, which is the city. It's a coastal city in Chile, in the north of Chile, very close to the Atacama Desert. And you can see the landscape. It's very arid, it's very dry, probably very low precipitation throughout the year. When it rains the most, it's in July, so our summer is their winter. But even then, I think even July, even the rainy season, sometimes it doesn't rain. And the only source of moisture or water for these plants is through the coastal fog that happens in the coast, and that's just because of the Atlantic Ocean current and the cold winds and the warm weather or the warm winds, the temperatures from the inland that happens from the desert and Bolivia and the north of Argentina. So in this presentation, we're going to cover why Chile, why copiapoas, the Atacama Coastal Desert, why Tal, why we went there. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of the company that we did the tour with and the program that they prepared for us in a 10-hour day that we spent with them. We're going to look at the species that you can see on number 6 through 11. These we were able to identify through our tour. And then after that day that we spent the full day with them hiking around the areas, we continue our journey. We drive from pretty much 5 days on the north part of Chile, and we reach the capital in Santiago. And then from there we start another trip that I can tell another presentation another time. We're going to talk about why other cacti and native flora in that region, why protection matters as well of these species, and the conservation that challenges that these species is facing in this area. Like I said, after our full day of safari with this company, we continued to drive and we went through the Pan de Azúcar National Park, Llanos de Challe National Park, where we found Copiapoa del Vara, and then a little final reflection from myself from this trip. So why Chile and Copiapoa? Well, Chile is the host of the Atacama Desert. If everybody knows where Chile, well, I hope you know, but if you don't know, it's there. So that's very, it's a very long country. It's probably longer than all our border from Canada to the US. It's even longer. From tip to bottom is probably about 7-hour flight, 7 to 8 hour flight. And to give you context, Santiago, the capital, is right in the middle, and Tal is in the north. And you can see how it goes from very arid, like the Atacama Desert, to very green, and to starting to become very white, because that's kind of like the South Pole and the Antarctica. The Atacama Desert is pretty much the region that is shown there in the dashed red line. And for us, our trip started from Bolivia. We went to Uyuni, and then we crossed the border through the mountains to San Pedro de Atacama. That's where we saw the desert, the Atacama Desert. We saw the stars. It was beautiful. You have to go, really. And then from there, we went to the coast. You can see Antofagasta on the left of San Pedro de Atacama. And then from there, from Antofagasta, we drove all the way south to Santiago. So that took us about 5 days to 7 days. I can't remember. Taltal, you can see that is south of Antofagasta, and that's where we stay 2 nights, 1 full day to explore the area and that region. And like I said, the Copiapoas are located in that area. The first Copiapoas, or how this came to be known in the botanic world, started in 1841. The English explorer Thomas Bridges visited Coquimbo and Copiapó, and you can see that's the red arrow that you can see below the Atacama Desert. So back in 1841, you can see an explorer, a botanist, went and traveled in this area. But took us half a day by car. You can imagine how long it took this person to travel and how much time he spent to find these Copiapoas. At that time, he said, well, this species is an Echinocactus marginatus, and that's what he said. After, in 1922, the botanist Britton Rose erected the genus Copiapoa finally, recognizing Copiapoa cinerea, marginata, coquimbana, cinerascens, echinoides, and megarrhiza, which are still there, and are some of our species, some of the species that we saw during our trip. And again, I think even to this point, there's more subspecies continue to be renamed or found or discovered or reclassified due to more studies and advanced technology. In 1953, the Echinocactus humilis was recognized as a Copiapoa humilis, and that's probably very well known now. In 1980, Friedrich Ritter published 36 new species, and since then I think very little changes to the new species have been declared. The Copiapoa genus is an extremely slow-growing and habitat-specific. That means you can only find them here, and it's increasingly threatened by illegal collection or poaching, the mining and the infrastructure in the region, and the climate instability. And well, like we all know, the mild winters that we have there, you can imagine how it's been lived down there as well. This is the coastal fog, and the Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth. Like I mentioned, life in the desert is primarily sustained by the coastal fog, which is the source of humidity to many plants. It is commonly known now as the Camanchaca. Locally, they call it that way. The fog, that's what Camanchaca means, is the fog. And the ecosystems in that area, that's what they need to thrive. The plants and other local flora have been adapted to minimal rainfall, high UV exposure, and poor and rocky soils. You can see from this image where Taltal is, and in a context of its location very close to the Andes also, all of these, the terrain, you can see how it forms some areas where, I kind of point with my mouse, but there are ravines throughout the entire area, and from the coast where you are at sea level to the top of the hills, it's about 1,000 meters difference. So we experienced it. As soon as we were driving closer to the city, we were at about 1,500 meters, and it was 33 degrees. We were, in our t-shirts. We were warm, and as soon as we got to the coast, we were probably at 8 degrees or 10 degrees.
Wow.
So, and that was just in a span of 20-minute drive.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting climate area, that region, and what it creates, and that's why these species are very special, are very unique. I did some research, and the only other areas that could replicate this phenomenon of the coastal fog could be South Africa or California.
Wow.
And that's why there's a lot of growers, very successful, of Copiapoa in California, in San Diego, and that region. What's important to note as well, and why I have this image, is because the concentration of Copiapoa species sometimes is limited to only 5 kilometer radius. So that means you can find only Copiapua humilis only in that region or in that 5 kilometers radius. That's all. They don't spread anymore or anywhere else other than that region. To give you an idea, the species that we found in Taltal and how they are distributed throughout the coast of Chile. So if you want to see Copiapua del Vara, you have to go to that certain location. If you drive 20 miles or 30 kilometers up, you're gonna see a completely different type of Copiapuas, but you will see them. But there's a lot of them. And the map on the left, it's about only this section in relationship to the whole country. So if you're looking for a specific species, if you go to Chile, you have to understand exactly where you need to go. Otherwise, you'll still be surprised and you find other Copiapuas, but are not gonna be the ones that you would be looking for. That's me, without mustache, and that's the Diego, the founder of Camanchaca Eco Tour. I speak Spanish because I'm from Mexico, so it was very easy to interact with him. He doesn't speak English, so for Pauline it was very difficult to understand the whole tour, but I had to translate. And that's a photo of us with a Copiapua gigantea. For everybody that knows the species and the genus, Copiapuas is very rare to see this size. Like, it was almost at my chest height, and I'm pretty tall. Yeah. So to see these and to understand how many years it took for this plant to grow under these conditions is probably over 200 years.
Yeah. Do you need a permit to go up to see them?
No, you don't. But you could even go, you don't need to hire a company. But locals put even traps on the roads to pinch your tires because they really want to protect this area. And the reason why I engaged with Diego and his company is because he's actually promoting to create a national park in this area to protect the Copiapuas. It's an endangered species, and well, we'll get to other reasons why it's endangered in the region. But he's seeking for support from the government to create a national park and protect this area. Right now, there's nothing said. You can go, you can grab that one plant, and if you find a way to smuggle it out, then it's yours, right? So it is very sad. There's no local support there. His company focuses on education, conservation, and responsible access, and they design tours, especially custom for anyone that wants to go there, so that you can learn. They spend the day with you, they take you to the safe areas, they take you to the safe hikes, and depending on who you are and where you're coming from and what you tell, he could even take you to see one of the rarest Copiapuas, like Transania or Oculta, which he told me, this is the first time that I see you, so I'm not gonna take you there. But if you come back next time, I see your mission, I told him about the club, I told him about our society, and he said, I'll be happy to share all that information with you.
Next time.
Yeah, so next time. Like I said, they organize hikes, they organize groups, and they try to educate people, locals and foreigners, but they really want to promote the creation of a national park. Anyways, our trip, like I mentioned, it was 10 hours total in the field, a combination of driving through different areas here in the region. In the morning, we started through this very close region to the city, Taltal, and we saw certain types of species here. The second part was the south coast, and the last part was the north coast. And that's roughly the tour that we did in that order. And throughout that tour, just driving a few kilometers away, we were able to see very different species that you would not see anywhere else. In the morning, we started at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was ideal, it was fresh. You can see I'm still wearing like one light layer. It was cloudy, so ideal for photography. We saw there Erosisi taltalensis in the middle in flowering, so it was pretty rare. And that's me on the left, hiking, climbing through those rocks to get that photo.
So it's just for the photo taking or
Yeah, yeah.
really climb up?
No, just for photo taking,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I'm actually afraid of heights, but when it comes to plants, it's I do whatever it takes, even traveling around the world. All the photos that you will see are taken by myself and by Pauline. She took that photo of me, Copiapó Sceneria, and just to see that size, that cluster, that old plant, I was just the happiest in the world, you know? From seeing like little seedlings that are like 1 inch in diameter that I have at home to see these, I was blown out of the water. We continue the tour and you can see it's the sea of Copiapós. They're everywhere. And they're like that big, but they start as small as the size of your thumbnail, right? And that one there, you can see that small, but so many ribs and so many spines. I mean, the work of nature, how long it took to grow that way. And that's why it's very easy to identify a poached plant from a container plant that's been grown in a greenhouse.
How do you tell the difference?
The color is one. Most of the time when you see them on the field, it's the more gray, more ashy color. It develops like a patina, like a little waxy thing on the skin. When you grow them in a greenhouse, most of the time you will see them more greenish color.
And elongated too a little bit more. They don't have the same amount of sunlight. The one I have at home, I've got about 15 of them. They don't look anything like this.
Yeah.
Now, I think I heard that you have to trip them differently. You have to grow them almost like in a habitat.
Yeah.
And at certain times, you just don't water them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then to make them go into this sort of.
Yeah. So what
reddish
happens
color, yeah.
here in our side of the world is that you don't water in the summer and you mist in the winters.
Yeah.
Could they grow more in a saline solution because of the coast and the fog?
No, actually the soil is very pH balanced. It's almost neutral.
Oh, is
Some locations the pH is about 8 or 7.
What about the fog? The water from the fog that it absorbs?
So the water, the fog hits the plant
Yep.
and stays in the skin of the plant, and when it condensates, it just moistens the surface of the soil.
Okay.
I don't
So
think there's any salt in the fog.
No.
It's like because it evaporates from from the sea,
Mhm.
so the evaporation is only H2O
Oh, okay.
that you get. You don't get salt or anything with it.
yeah, so some species have evolved to have the root system very close to the top and very spread across the surface. There are other ones like the Copiapó humility which they have the taproot. But it's very interesting to know which one has which, because then you can pick the container for the correct plant that you want to grow. From here we went to probably one of the most beautiful plants in this genus, to me, the Columna alba. Columna means column, alba means sunrise. This is from the Spanish and Latin probably. So they call it that way because it always grows in a column and its apex is pointing to the middle of the day sun. You can see them, they're all growing in the same direction. There is no one growing on the opposite or skewed or rotated, and it's just one. In nature, after many, many years, they start to grow like little pups on the sides, but that's very rare. And if you see one, if you grow one in your greenhouse, it will probably take you probably 20 years to get about 10 inches. And you'll be very lucky if you grow it with pups on the side. What Diego told us during this tour, you can see the one in the middle. There is like, the plant is kind of like shrinking, and you can see the ribs there, those waves on the body at the bottom. That you can tell when was a good season, when it got water, because it got
Okay.
fatter. And then throughout the years, it started to shrink, to shrivel a little bit, and then it started to grow again, and it wasn't a good year, so it got a little skinny. And so it's very interesting to see. So I think for a plant, on every wave or every rib that you see on the body, it's probably about 5 to 10 years. And you can see in some of these plants, the yellowish tone on the sides, that's the lichen, because all the moisture that the plant collects over years, right? Over the years. On the left, it's a photo of a crested form, which just blew my mind to see that. And once you get really close, you see the wool started to form on the apex and the flowers, which is, I mean, you gotta love this, really. We continue to the costa, to the south coast, the Costa Sur, and he was guiding us with a little book that we put there for reference to identify the species, and just how well written was the book. You were able to see them like that in nature. So this one is Copiapoa desertorum, and it creates clumps, and some of these specimens, they were dead because they are inland, so the fog doesn't get there. You can see that it's a very open space, so if there's no rainwater for decades, then the plant died, right, after so many years. But it was very interesting to see from one to the other species, and you can recognize them right away, right? You can never say, oh, this is a columnata, because it's just simply not the same species. Like all copiapoas, if you grow them in a greenhouse, if you start to water too much, they'll die on you because they're just not adapted to that. We continue to go to the south in the Sifuncho area, which is another city, a smaller city. And you can see the coast is very close to some hills and very sandy and rocky soils. And we continue to find other plants there, like this one, Copiapoa rupestris. Very similar to the Copiapoa desertorum, but this one grows on the hills, very close to the coast. It's important to note as well, like the fog patterns shape the species and the distribution throughout the country, or throughout that north part of Chile. After this, we returned to Taltal for lunch, took a little bit of a break. And then we went to the north, when we started to hike a lot more deeper into the region. We probably hiked for about 4 hours total, 2 hours in, 2 hours back. And that's when we start to see the presence of giant copiapoas, which is some of them known as a variation of the cinerea. But also, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, the Copiapoa hasseltoniana is the one closer to the one that we started noticing here. It has that green, pale skin. And I wanted to put these photos in that order because you can see that the one on the left is probably about 5 years old. The one in the middle, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the one on the right is probably more than 50 years old, probably closer to 100 years old. And you can see that the base as well, if you see a plant someone selling, and you can see this discoloration, is most likely poached, taken from habitat, because you don't get that in a greenhouse. Finally, after hiking 2 hours, I was really happy to see these, and that's when we said, okay, I've seen it all. I'm okay, I'm happy, you know, if we leave now. But it was amazing to see this specimen of this particular species, this big, in this condition, growing everywhere in this area. But you can see how the ravine, you know, probably 300 years old, 300 years ago, there used to be a river, but now it's only the fog that penetrates in between the hills. And that's how they get their moisture from. And after this, we went to the top of the hill, which it was about 1,000 meters from above sea level. And this is where we were able to find the Copiapoa humilis. Very small. That's probably the size of that coin compares to a quarter, maybe, of our coins. And it's one of the smaller species in the genus. If you don't look around carefully, you will miss it. It thrives in very harsh and exposed conditions. Like I said, this is at the very top of the hill. There is wind, there is fog, there is sun all the time, there is no protection, nothing. And that's why it probably likes to grow in between the rocks, because that's kind of like where fog creates some condensation, perfect humidity for the seeds to hatch, right, to grow. Some of the Copiapoa species recognized to date are here. There's a few, I can send you that later, but yeah. There is Copiapoa valeriana, Hypogea, Atacamensis marginata, Humilius, Delbara, all of this. There were other plants like Euphorbia lactiflua, which I was surprised to see there. I didn't know that Euphorbias were there too. But you can see them, and some of them were in flower, those little yellow flowers. The one in the middle, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. I just took a photo. I was there for the Copiapoas.
Like a bromeliad type.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And the other one that you will see everywhere else in this region is the Eulychnia caltalensis. Kind of resemblance of San Pedro, but very long spines. And yeah, you can see on the photo on the right, they're still everywhere. There's a lot of plants as well, a lot of flora that is sustained primarily by the coastal fog. Why protection matters? Well, Copiapoas, like I said, they only grow in this region. They're irreplaceable and extremely slow to recover. We stopped by the road on the first photo on the left. We were just, I don't know, 25 meters from the beach on pure sand. That Copiapoa behind that rock was there. And it's been there for many, many years. So I was impressed. At the same time, I was sad that locals and people around the world, they just want to have it and they want to get it. And yeah, they start very small and they get to a very decent size after many, many years. The conservation challenges, like I said, people in the region, they don't care. For them, it's just another shrub, right, on their backyard. And for the people that really care about them, they want to steal it. And they want to sell it, export it, and well, that's not good either. And the last is probably the mining in the region, like the photo that we see there. Ironically, I don't want to get political about it, but this mine is owned by a Canadian company.
When they do that mining in the States, I know they actually get conservation people to come and take out the plants, then they do the excavation and everything. They do that there too?
Yes, sometimes, but it's not just that, it's also the roads that they need to create to get there. And when you're extracting oil or diamonds, I don't think they really care that much.
Yes.
It's owned by what company?
Canadian company.
It's a Canadian company. I don't know which one. Well, I could tell you, but I'd rather not in this presentation. That was the end of our trip. That was the end of our 10 hours with Diego and his company. We learned a lot, we saw a lot, I was very happy. But that wasn't the end of my Cactus trip. So we continued to drive all the way, like I said, from Tal to Santiago de Chile. And we crossed through the national park, Pan de Azucar, where we started to see more different species, like Copiapoa cinerascens, different types of clusters, bigger clusters, some of them also in bloom. And you can tell right away, just by the look of them, after you've seen for one full day all the species, you see another one and you can tell, yeah, this is different. I'm like, 50 kilometers away from that region. So this is a completely new, different species. This one, you could probably find seeds here, and you can find samples from Valley succulents. I actually bought 2 of them. Very easy to grow, the Copiapoa cinerascens. After 10 years of age, they can probably start clumping. We continued to drive, and somewhere in Chile, they were just everywhere. I don't know where we were, I can't remember, but they were just everywhere. So we had to stop and we have to admire all of them. I have a ton of videos I wish I could share with you, but maybe another time. The ones in this clump, we were able to see all of them. Like I said, I didn't have the book with me that he was sharing with us during the tour, but I think the one on the left is Copiapoa echinata, and the one in the middle and the clump of my selfie is Copiapoa longistaminea. I believe. Don't take my word for it. I don't know. There's lots of flowers, dried or gone. It's an indication that we missed the flowering period, sadly. And it's another thing that occurs in the Atacama Desert, and people and locals were telling us, when the plants go in bloom, the desert is full with color. Yellow, purple, pinks, it's just something beautiful to watch. So if you really plan to go there and you get lucky with the year and the season, you might be able to see that. It's really,
When is
really, really
when is the flowering season?
well, we were there in November, so probably October, late October, yeah. After that, we continued our way south and Llano Techaye National Park. For me, that's the other one that I really wanted to see, Copiapoa de Alvara. Because when I was doing my research for this trip, I saw people taking photos with clumps as big of the table, as the table. And I just wanted to see that with my own eyes. So we hiked a little bit. There's a very long hike throughout the national park. We hiked a little bit after probably about 45 minutes in, with the sun blasting on top of us. I was able to see this, and after that I was I think we spent about an hour there taking photos.
Okay, so that's as big as the table?
Yeah. It's probably about 2 meters wide. I don't think I have a selfie there, but anyways, yeah. We spent too long there, and we need to get to the next town and continue to drive. And I'm telling you, between each town, we were driving for about 6 to 7 hours, maybe, or maybe 5 hours, but then 3 hours stopping and taking photos of me and hiking around. So after these, I was just impressed, and I said, okay, enough is enough. We have to go. After I saw this, but yeah, this is a very good plant as well to grow in cultivation. It's very quicker than the other cinerias. The Alvara is known because it has a very long spine, but the spines are curved. In this photo as well, you can see there's other species on the back, like Eulignia or Copiapoa echinoides and Megarrhiza as well in the region. What can I say? Yeah, okay, so that's it. After this, we continued our drive. We had like 2-3 more hours to go. And I was like, well, I've seen it all. I'm happy, let's go. But
how about the road? Is it good?
after I knew, yeah, the road was amazing. And then we were able to see them everywhere. They were just outside of the national park. There were Copiapoas de Alvara everywhere. And even I took my hiking boots already, and I was just walking around in my flip-flops. So there's my foot for scale. There's clumps everywhere. Some of them, yeah, some of them flower and in flower. And yeah, you were able to see this is Copiapoa de Alvara, and we were starting to see another species as well, which is Copiapoa echinoides. And you can see the difference between one species to the other is quite significant. And it tells you about the evolution of the species, right? In this area of Chile, there is no more coastal fog. It's very limited. So you can see that the plant evolves to adapt to more light, more sunlight throughout the day. So yeah, what I would suggest is don't hike on flip-flops because
No.
they're just everywhere.
Very brave.
Yes, I learned the lesson. Final reflections. This photo was taken from the end of our tour. Like I said, we were thousands of meters above sea level, but to me it was just impressive that you can go from a sea level to 1,000 meters and find completely different species in one single region. Seeing Copiapoas in the habitat changes how you understand them. And to me, I only can say that when I see Copiapoas are a living record of a species survival, shaped by the fog, by the stone, and by time. And it left me with a lasting sense of responsibility to appreciate, study, and advocate for these plants so that future generations can experience them where they truly belong and not in one of our greenhouses. So that's it. Until then, we'll hit the road again. We don't know where, but that's all we got. Thank you.
Did you see any animals there? Or no animals?
No,
Lizards and stuff like that? No,
No scorpions?
no.
No?
Wow.
About lower temperature.
Temperature? The lowest that we felt probably in Tautal, when we were having lunch, was about 10 to 12 degrees. During the day, the fog comes in the morning, and with the wind, it goes away in the afternoon. But that's another good point, actually. Wind throughout the entire region. So if you have copiapoas, always wind, always air circulation, movement, cross ventilation. That's how they like to be, right?
On winter, what's the lower on winter?
On winter, no idea, but the plants are outside, so I would say maybe, maybe 5 degrees, maybe 8 degrees.
+5, yeah.
+5, yeah. I don't think it dips below 0 there, just because you're so close to the Atacama Desert. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it fluctuates because in the afternoon you can get, or in the morning you can get anywhere between 20 to 25 when we were, but then at night it dipped down to maybe 5 degrees. So they are used to that temperature fluctuation as well.
Was this the road that you were driving on?
Yeah, that's the road. That's the last road, or the last photo I took during this trip when we left that Llanos de Chaya National Park, and we started going all the way to Santiago de Chile. We started seeing a few more, like Copiapoa Coquimbana, because it's close to Coquimbo. Let me see. But they are not as impressive as all of these ones here. Well, at least not to me. You can find them more easily in greenhouses or in stores here. But yeah, after that line, that dash line that I put at the bottom of the south of Tautal, when it starts to become more green, the species that you start to see there are, well, they're still copiapoas, but to me they're not as interesting as the other ones that we saw there. Because they're more adapted to another climate, right, that you are able to see more. So yeah, Chile has the best roads we've ever driven to. The best.
That's pretty paved.
Yes, and at night they're well lit, well signed, everything. But also Chile is the most expensive country we visited, even more expensive than the US.
Oh, really? Wow.
What's the exchange?
For US dollar, it's probably 1 to 1 or 1.1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Expensive in USA, car rental, hotels.
Yeah, so for the tour for us that we did, we paid about 500 Canadian dollars for our tour.
Excursions, yeah.
It was private, so if you go in a large group, maybe 5-10 people, but yeah, that was it.
Wow.
Relatively, I would say they're easy. How we got to the top of that hill, he drove us with the car,
Yeah.
and then we just walk 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
The hike to see the Copiapoa Gigantillas, it was 2 hours, just rocky.
It's rocky.
If you go and take your time, you'll be fine. Yeah, any other questions?
Was there any, you didn't see any animals, so there weren't any like birds or local species of iguanas that live in cohesion with the plants, did you?
No, we didn't see
Trash
any.
like
Now that you
those.
mention, not even spiders, I think. Yeah. Not even mosquitoes, I think.
Yeah.
Not like Arizona. Arizona, a lot of animals, right?
Yeah.
Even the tether.
Yeah, I'll definitely encourage you to visit this area. It's beautiful. The landscapes when we were driving before Tal from Paposo to Tal, it was like we landed in Mars.
Wow.
Like it was just we had to stop. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that. The ocean and then a hill that like goes up here, and then rocks everywhere, like jagged rocks. It was insane. It was really beautiful. And I'll definitely go back one day. Yeah.
So then you can see the other.
Yeah, so we actually, when we get to Tal, we started driving from a road that was directly going to Paposo. And you can see that on the north of Paposo, on the purple and the gray, at the top, that's the whole region that we didn't explore.
The gray? On top.
Yeah, the gray on the left,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can see that that's where Copiapoa tacamensis grow. And on the image on the right, that's where Copiapoa solaris grows, which Copiapoa solaris, if you know Copiapoa, it's a very rare one, very high priced as well in the markets, because it's very hard to find. Yeah, the Copiapoa gigantea is the green on the left, the green area, and that's in Paposo. That's when we did the north coast of Tal, that's when we saw them. That was the hike that we did, and when we parked the car, we were driving by the coast, the water's on the left, we were driving north. He went in, it's almost like he was just like, oh, here's good. And he just pull over to the right, and we were like, is he going to kidnap us? Or there was nothing, there was nobody there. And he knew, he was a local, right? He grew there. So we started following him, and he said, here's your bottle of water. And then we'll continue, and then we start hiking, and then, yeah, it was impressive, honestly. So only with him, I was telling at the beginning, let's just go. We don't need anybody. I'm not gonna pay $500 if we can just see them, but I think it was really worth the money to have someone there, to have us explain, to learn from them, and from someone that is very passionate about this as well. He's doing this, he wants to create a national park for his little girl so that she can enjoy it as well. So that's really impressive.
So,
Admirable.
Very educational. Wow. I like it.
Yeah.
so there are other companies or?
There are other people that offer tours, more expensive, more commercial too. They take you through 3-4 days with their jeeps through other areas, and you probably pay about anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000. It includes all the accommodation and the food, but like I said, Chile is expensive, so yeah, you can understand. And honestly, if you reach out to them, they'll probably tell you, come to these dates and you will see the flowers, and they'll guarantee you. So yeah, it's probably worth it too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you.